Hey guys, so our application is almost done. I just want to integrate PayPal. We're going to be using PayPal Express Checkout. We're going to be using their API, and there's a lot of things here that I'm not going to be able to explain exactly what they do. We're going to use a PayPal class and methods to achieve our checkout. I would definitely suggest, if you're interested in this, go to developer.paypal.com, and there's just a whole bunch of info. There's a complete guide on Express Checkout, but obviously this is way too much to go through in this series or in this video. So I would really suggest that. Alright, there's a few different pages here. We have classic API references, just about PayPal as a whole. Now the class we're going to be using there's different versions of it around the internet, and it's quite popular, but this here, phpmoot.com, has an example of that class and the functionality that it uses. Alright, so just thought I'd show you that. Also, this blog post, I think there's a few of them on sanwebe.com. PayPal Express Checkout with PHP also has some really good examples that are really similar to what we're going to be doing. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is add the class, the PayPal class. Okay, so I'm going to go to the finished application, and then in libraries, oh, this is the wrong application. Okay, application, libraries, PayPal. So I'm going to copy this over to our app. Let's see, XAMPP, htdocs, the gaming place, application, libraries. Okay, I'm going to paste that in. Alright, and we're not going to have to touch this. Okay, we're really not going to have to touch this. It's a class, and it has basically one method, PayPal HTTP post. Alright, and it's going to include things like your API username, password, signature. We're going to have to get those and store those in a configuration file. The mode, so you can have sandbox or live mode. We're just going to be doing the live mode. And what we're going to do is we're not going to go through the entire process to actually purchase the item, but we want to get it to where when we click checkout, PayPal has all of our info and also has each individual product in the PayPal cart, not just a total of all our products. This way the user can actually log into PayPal and manage their orders. Alright. In addition to that, we have an orders table in our database where we can add every order as well. So right before it goes to PayPal, or after, which is probably a better way to do it, it's just going to insert that info into our orders table, if that makes sense. Alright, and then it's using curl and just some more complicated things that I don't really feel comfortable trying to explain. Just know that we're going to use this PayPal class. Alright, so let's save that. And if you want to copy it, I'll just scroll over so you can see the entire thing. I would suggest just grabbing it from the program files, not trying to actually type all this out. Alright, so close that, and we shouldn't need it again. Now we want to go to our cart controller. Scroll down. Now this is going to be the function that interacts with the PayPal library and handles pretty much everything to do with PayPal. Okay, so this is going to process form, and I'm going to call it public function process. Alright, and just to make sure, let's go to our cart view, make sure that the form is going to that. So let's see, form is going to cart process. Alright, I'm actually going to put the base URL here as well, just to make sure it goes to the right place. Alright, so process. So before it does anything, I want to check for post, just to make sure someone made a post request. Okay, so very simple. Say if post, because we don't want people to just go to our app / process. It has to be posted to. So we're going to say for each alright, so for each this input post item underscore name as key value. Alright, so this is just a for each loop it's gonna loop for as many items that we have in our cart. That's why we're saying for each item name, and then we're saying as key value. So let's just see what this gives us. Actually, you know what? Let's just print out the array. We'll say print r this input post item name. Alright, and then we'll just die. Alright, so go to our cart, and let's see, home. Let's add 2 of these. What's this? Expecting equal, line 55. Oh, I'm just going to get rid of this for each just for now to just test this. This input post item name Okay, let's go to our cart and check out, and you can see that we have this is just giving us the item names in our cart, which we have Destiny and we have Call of Duty Ghosts. Okay, so let's get back that for each, get rid of this. Alright, now this is basically, we're going to scroll through or loop through our products. So next I want to grab the item ID of the current item or product. Okay, so item ID is going to be equal to input post item code key. So that'll give us the item ID. And then product is going to be equal to product model get product details, and we'll pass in the item ID. Okay, so that's so we can get all the information we need on that product. So now we need to build the PayPal data. Okay, so under this, still in the for each loop, we're gonna put this in. Alright, so this PayPal data, and this is referring to the class property up here, PayPal data, which we set to nothing. Alright, so now basically we're putting in the product title, the ID, the price, and the quantity. So this is how we can access the quantity. Alright, so I know this may look a little intimidating, but once we have this process function complete, we shouldn't have to look at it again. So next we want to get the price with the quantity. Alright, so if we have 2 Call of Duty games, obviously the price is going to be different than if we just had one. Alright, so under here, make this a little wider. Alright, so under here, I'm going to paste this in, and we're going to get a subtotal, and the subtotal will equal the product price, okay, the current product for the current iteration of the loop, times the item quantity. Alright, so if it's $50 and we have two of them, obviously the subtotal will be $100. Alright, and then for the total, the actual total, you can see up here we have total as a property of the cart class. Basically, this is going to be equal to itself plus this subtotal. Next, we want to create an array for PayPal. Okay, so I'm going to paste this in. Product, PayPal product items is going to be equal to an array, and it's going to hold the name, price, code, which is in our case an ID. Alright, so when I say code and ID, they basically mean the same thing. And then also the quantity. And again, this equals the quantity. Alright, so next what I want to do is build an order array to insert into our orders table. Alright, so let me just push this over. Alright, so basically we're just creating a few arrays that are needed in order to make the transaction. Okay, so order data is equal to an array, the product ID, and you can see all these fields here are in our orders table. Let me just show you that. Okay, so if we go to orders, see we have product ID, user ID, transaction ID is going to be 0 for us, but what you may want to do is make it so that when the customer goes to PayPal, pays, and then returns, with that return you get the PayPal transaction number, and then you would insert it into this column in this table. But doing that is a little more complicated. Alright, so I mean, if you want to use a transaction ID that auto increments, then you could do that. There's a lot of different ways you can do these things. Okay, so user ID, alright, so this is important. We're not getting this from a form or anything like that. We're getting this from the session data. So this will be whichever user is logged in, alright, and it's going to take that for the ID. Transaction ID I have defaulted to 0, but you can do what you want with that. Quantity, again, is going to use this format. Price is going to be the subtotal. It's not going to include shipping and tax. It's just going to be the product's sum. And then we have the address info, which is coming from the form, okay, that we didn't fill out yet. And then to actually put that data into the database is very simple. Say add order data, and this is going to go this. Whoop. We're going to put this into the, we're going to use the products model here. Initially I was going to create a cart model, but this would be the only function in it, so we don't really need that. Alright, so let's say this product model add order. Alright, and then we just want to pass in our order data, okay, which is all this. And next, let's just create that real quick. So we'll go to the product model. Okay, down here. All right. And let me just paste this in. Very simple function. We're taking the array and we're creating an insert variable, which is going to be equal to either true or false, and then we're going to return it. Alright, so let's go back to cart, and that's going to be it for the for each loop, alright, for each item. So we want to break out of the loop, which is here. Alright, so now what I want to do is get the grand total. Alright, so this grand total is going to be equal to this total plus this, plus this tax plus this shipping. And I'm just going to set those up here. Okay, so tax and shipping. For tax, let's just set it to, I don't know, $2. And then shipping, let's set that just to $5. Alright. Alright, now we want to create an assets array with the costs. Okay, so we got PayPal product assets, and we have tax total, shipping cost, grand total. Alright, so those will all be equal to their respective values. Next, we want to create a session array, and this is going to be used for later, so that if you want to do something when you're returned, when the user goes to PayPal and pays and then returns, you'll still have this info. Alright, and it's getting it from up here, PayPal products items. So all of these will be available to you when PayPal returns. And we're going to define a PayPal return URL as well, which will be this. It'll be actually this page process. Alright, so now what I want to do is, actually, you know what? I'm not going to store tax and shipping in here. We're going to create a config file, or add to the current config file, because we need a place to put our PayPal API credentials, things like that. So let's go ahead and go to config.php. So I'm going to paste this in here. Alright, so this is our custom configuration options. So we have our shipping, tax, live is the PayPal mode, and then you have your credentials, alright, which these are not my real credentials. But you can get these if you log into your PayPal account, and then under profile, I believe you can click on request API credentials or something like that, and then you can get your API username, password, signature. Alright, so you can get that stuff there, and you want to paste that in. And then your return URL is really important. You want it to go somewhere that obviously that you can access through a browser. In this case, it's going to go to localhost. It's going to go to my cart controller, and then the process function, which is the one that we've actually been working in. And then the cancel URL will go to just cart cancel, which I don't think I even created yet. And this isn't going to really work since I'm on my local host. We're not going to be able to do the return, but this is where you would set those values. Alright, so let's save this. And in order to use the config class, we want to go to autoload, and then in libraries. Okay, so libraries, we want to add config. Save that. Okay, we can leave. Now back to our cart controller. I'm going to define the tax and shipping. I'm going to actually put that right under the for each. Alright, now we're just setting this tax and this shipping to the config values, and you can access any config values with this config. Alright, so that's where that's going to come from. Now I'm going to paste in the rest of this process method. Alright, so let's see. Here we have the parameters that PayPal needs: return URL, cancel URL, and you can see that those are coming from our config. Alright, so we actually define that, and then we're just setting the PayPal API parameters to that. Alright, let's see what else. We have the total we're passing in, the tax, shipping, grand total, currency code, demo, your logo. You can use a custom logo, which I just uploaded a very simple one. Then here it's going to be HTTP parsed response is going to equal this PayPal PP HTTP post. Okay, so this is coming from our PayPal class that where is it? Libraries PayPal. You can see this PP HTTP post, and we're passing in the API username, password, all that. So that's what's going on right here. Okay, it's passing in the username, password, all that stuff. And then here we're going to say if it's a success, then we're going to redirect to, we're going to go to PayPal and basically make payment. And then when it returns, it'll return to whatever we put in the config. In my case, is just the process function again. Now when it returns to the process function, we need to catch it, and we can do that. Where is it? Let's go right under this curly bracket, and I'm going to paste a bunch of code in. Alright, so this is where we're checking. We're checking to see if the get variable of token is set and payer ID. So basically when we return to this page from PayPal, this, whatever's in this block, is what will run. Alright, and you can then use this array, this PayPal product items, which has the quantity, price, all that, to have a nice thank you page or confirmation page or whatever. And if you remember, we set this as a session way up here. Okay, right here we set that as a session array for available for later, and this is later when you're actually returned from PayPal. So let's just give this a shot. Alright, I'll save it and we'll go home, and let me just update my cart, and you can do that by just setting the quantity to 0. Alright, so line 54 in our cart controller, something's up. 54. Okay, for each this input post. Oh, okay, this was separated. We need to cut out that white space. Alright. Alright, so now our cart's updated. Let's go ahead and add stuff to it. Okay, we got 1 Destiny. Let's add 2 Sniper Elites. Alright, and we'll say that's what we want. So go to cart, the total, and you can see that it's now including the shipping and the tax. Gives us a grand total. And let's just fill out our info. Okay, check out. Alright, unknown column address 1 in field list. Okay, it should just be address. So, I think it's in the product model. Actually, no. The cart controller. Here we go. It shouldn't be address 1 right here. It should be just address. Okay. Let's try it again. Call to member undefined function. Oh, we didn't include the PayPal library. So let's go back to auto load. We want to go to configuration, auto load, and then down at libraries, we want to include PayPal. Save. Okay. All right. So it directed us to PayPal. All right, and you'll notice that our logo's here. I guess the image that I created was too long, but that is where the custom logo shows. And then over here we have our total. And what's awesome about the class that we created and how we've handled this, we can actually see every amount for every individual product, and even the tax and the shipping. All right, and then it gives us the subtotal. All right, so that's exactly what we wanted to happen. Now, I'm not actually going to log in and purchase, but what it will do is after the purchase, it'll redirect you to whatever you specified as your return URL. And then, for instance, my return URL was the actual cart controller process function. All right, and it's checking for it down here. So when you get returned from PayPal, this is the block that will get executed. All right, and you may want to move this, okay, so where you add your order to your database, you may want to move that down here. All right, but just for simplicity, I kept it up before. So let's go ahead and make sure that it went in our database. So you can see that in addition to the one we had there, we have two new ones. Okay, it gives us the product ID, the user ID of who purchased it. Transaction is set to 0, but if you move this functionality after you return from PayPal, you can get that. The quantity, the price, all right, and then the address info. So you can easily check the address and then mail the user their package. All right, so that's it. Obviously, this isn't a really advanced application, but it's definitely a start. You could add a lot to it. You could add new payment methods, authorized.net, SSL for on-site purchases, things like that. But I just wanted to give you an idea of how PHP and the CodeIgniter framework work in terms of building a shopping cart. So I hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you in the next project.